Okay, let's get this show on the road. Hello, everyone. Hope you're well. Welcome to another edition of Math 1108, the last edition, it seems. Still my apartment, but different location. Lots of stuff going on here. Finals week is always more trouble than it is worth. But yeah, let's actually get into it because I know you guys have better things to do. All right. Okay, so let's see. There are just some things I want to make sure that we clear up and we're all aware of before we move on. And just so you know, the review session is mostly going to be directed by you guys. I'll say what I want to say. And if anything else comes to mind while I'm talking, I'll mention it. But for the most part, this is just to answer your questions, your concerns. Yeah, we can move on after that. Hopefully, at the end of the day, even if nothing else is accomplished, I do want you guys to have some sort of peace of mind moving on, as well as just to know within some reasonable degree of accuracy what to expect. Other than that, you should know when your final is. So if you are in the RO4 section, your final is on Friday. So that's Friday this week, May 14th. So you have a while. And that will be at 9:30 in the morning on Gradescope. So the RO4 section, that's the section that meets at 8:30 a.m. So if you are here and you meet at 8:30 a.m., your final for this class is on Friday. If you meet at 9:30 a.m. usually, that means you're in the RO5 section. That's the smaller class. And your final will be on Wednesday, May 12th. So a little less time. It's enough time though, I think. Assuming everything else is not as crazy. But you recently did test 2. You did a lot of studying for that. So I think mostly you just want to go over the material from test 1. And that kind of applies to everyone. So yeah, that's what I would say. Now, in terms of the format of the final, I wanted to say some things about that. It's essentially going to be a combination of test 1 and test 2. So going over test 1 and test 2 and things like that will be very good practice. Except I might throw in a few problems that I would have wanted to include in test 1 and test 2, but I just didn't have the time to include. They're not hard problems, I don't think, but these are things like the Venn diagram word problems. We did a bunch of those in class. That was fine for you guys. I'll probably throw in one of those more as a courtesy more than anything else, I think, because those tend not to be difficult. I might throw in some a pure counting problem. So we know that for a probability, you need to know how to count to sort of set up the probabilities. So I figured if you mess up a probability problem, you would at least have the opportunity to show that, well, at least I knew the counting part, right? So I'll probably throw in a direct counting problem where it's not about probability. It's just me asking you to, how many ways can this happen? Or how many of these things are there? So we did have some counting examples in a handout before, and you can go over that, I believe. Yeah, the title of the handout was counting examples, right? Where we counted like how many full houses there are and things of that sort. Yeah, so I'll probably throw in a couple of problems like that. And that would be sort of the main final. So in your mind, just think test 1 and test 2 smashed together with a Venn diagram problem and a counting problem. And that's basically the final. Of course, so those are the types of problems. Those are the types of problems you can expect. So that's roughly going to be about 18 problems, give or take, because I think test 1 and test 2 were 8 problems each. or something like that, 8 or 9. So combining those and then adding in these 2 extra ones, it's going to give you about 18 problems to get through. In terms of formulas, I will provide the financial math formulas as I did before. I might also include Bayes' theorem, but I probably won't include any other probability formulas. Should I write that down? Maybe I should write that down. I'm risk opening both of these on there. Maybe not. I should write that down, but I am not. I'm not going to do that on the iPad because that's just asking for trouble. I'll write down what I just said. Okay, so I'll insert it maybe in this line here. So I will provide formulas for the financial math part as in test 1. I will also provide the formula in Bayes' theorem. But no other probability formulas. The other ones we use so often, I think like if you're practicing enough, you should memorize those. Bayes' theorem is a little bit a cumbersome formula. So even if you're practicing, I can see like on a final, you're just getting mixed up with where to put what letters. So I'll do that. What else? In the bonus, I will provide the shorthand formulas for mean, standard deviation, and median of grouped data. Okay. Yeah, so finals like test 1 and test 2 mashed together, except we are going to have a counting problem and a Venn diagram problem. Also, I'm going to give you all the financial math formulas that I gave you before. So all you need to know is when to use which a lot of you didn't know in the first exam. Just cover that. When do I use which formula? After that, it's very easy to actually solve those problems. Then I will give you Bayes' theorems formula, because that's the kind of formula I think a student might mess up even if they're practicing a lot. But the other probability formulas, I don't think you would, if you're practicing enough, like you will not make a mistake with those. For the statistics part, I will give you the formulas in shorthand for the mean, standard deviation, and the median for group data. So if you don't know what those are, that was because that's in the asynchronous lecture, which I had issues with because a lot of stuff was moving around here. And I might actually just re-record that because it's kind of in snippets and I had to combine stuff and it just was bad. Okay, so that stuff though, the standard deviation stuff and all that other stuff that I would covered in the asynchronous lecture, it's very straightforward stuff. It's not like word problems where you'll get confused. It's more straightforward. It's like, I'm going to give you some data and say, do these calculations. And as long as you know the formula, you just plug and chug. I'm not going to ask you to interpret what the numbers mean or anything like that. Just straight up, here's some data, do these calculations, right? So the statistics part, if you can look over that in a very short period of time, I think. But the statistics part that's in the asynchronous lecture, I would only put in the bonus, right? So for the final, for the main final, the only thing you will have to know is what we did in class in synchronous lectures. The thing that I did in the asynchronous lecture, which at this point isn't even posted yet, will be in bonus. So technically you could ignore it, but also I think the problems are easy enough where it would be good if you just do them and get some extra points. Yeah, because it's going to be very straightforward. Like, here's the data. Tell me the mean. Tell me the standard deviation. Tell me this. And so, yeah, I think that would be nice. Let's see. What else? Okay, so yeah, for the bonus problems, there will be bonuses on the finals, which normally I don't put bonus on finals, but I think I'll do it this semester based on how things were going. And yeah, I'll probably throw in an Excel problem if I feel like it. I will throw in some statistics problems where, like I said, give you some data, ask you to compute some stuff. Oh, what's the mean? What's the median? What's the mode? What's the standard deviation? I'll also do that for group data. I might also ask you to find quartiles and create box plots, which again, that was in the asynchronous lecture. And I might even throw in, just to be nice, a set operations problem where, I give you, oh, here are sets A, B, C, and D. What is A union C? What is A minus B? What is blah, 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 right? So I just do some set operation problems. And that will be the bonus section. Yeah. In terms of time, the final will be about 2 hours plus upload time. And upload time is going to be about 15 to 20 minutes. Added that in. And yeah, I think that's kind of it. So that's when the finals are. So you make sure you know that. I would also double check the final exam schedule. For this and your other classes. Okay. I don't think I did, but who knows? I could have made a typo. Make sure you know when the final is actually being held. Yeah. So that's when the finals are. So if you're in the RO4 section, it's on Friday at 9:30 in the morning. If you're in the RO5 section, which is the 9:30 section, it's on Wednesday at 9:30 in the morning. The file is going to be about 2 hours long with upload time additional. And it's essentially test 1 and test 2 mashed together with a counting problem and a Venn diagram problem thrown in. And the bonus section will be as I described here. I will throw in a couple stats problems and or linear programming problem with Excel and or some set problems, set operation problems. I'll give you the formulas for the financial math and base theorem. And yeah, also I did want to mention is to submit regrade request. Okay, so if you have a problem, if you look over anything, you have a problem with test 2 or test 1, how it was graded, when test 2 isn't graded yet, but when it is graded, you should go through, you should actually look over your test. I mean, it's your test, it's your grade. You should be responsible for it. And submit a regrade request if anything seems off to you. Like if you think I graded you unfairly, or you think I missed something, or whatever, send me a regrade request and I'll look at it. So by the time it's all said and done, all the work is in, everything is graded, you guys will have opportunity to speak to me about your grades and the finals. And I would like to have all the test issues out of the way by then, so that I'd only have to talk to you about your final, if anything. So yeah, so it's all about being transparent. You should know why you're getting the grade you're getting, and know that I'm not trying to cheat you or anything like that. So yeah, so after the final is done and they're graded, I will not post the results officially right away, but I'll give you guys some time, 24, maybe 48 hours, to look over your final and reach out to me if you see any issues. But the best way to reach out to me is to just submit regrade requests. Don't send me an email or anything like that. So there's actually submit regrade requests in Gradescope for every problem where you have an issue. Yeah. Other than that, any questions or concerns that you have going in? Now is the time to deal with them. So yeah, so I can answer general questions or concerns, or I can maybe go over a specific problem that you had or something of that sort. So yeah, I open the floor to you guys. Hopefully everything here is understood as well. If you had any questions about what I said, do a Venn diagram word problem. Sure. Example. We have 100 students, 25 play tennis, 35 play basketball, 60 play neither, how many play both tennis and basketball? Right, so that's a Venn diagram problem. And I might even say use a Venn diagram. In your answer. Okay. Is there anyone who might want to take a shot at this problem? Like, what would you do? Yeah. So the Venn diagram would look like boom, boom, boom. Tennis, yeah, basketball. And remember, you want to fill in the areas where you have the most overlap first, or the areas where you're told specifically a number for that region. So here we were told 60 play neither. So I know that there's 60 out here. I want to find how many play both. So let x equals how many play both. So x would go in here. And I know that 25 play tennis. So over here, there'll be 25 minus x. I know that 35 play basketball. So over here, there'll be 35 minus x. And yeah, so we know since there are 100 students, 25 minus x plus 35 minus x must be equal to 40 because you already have 60 accounted for. So that would give you 25 plus 35 is 60. Here we would have minus x equals 40. So then you would get x equals 20. 20 play both. That would be the answer to the Venn diagram problem. You could also, there was one that we had. The other ones would be like, maybe I will ask you something with 3 things in them. So there was a problem we had, again, 100 students. Um, 30 major in math. We had 40 major in English. We had 50 major in physics. We had 10 major in math and physics. We had 20 major in math and English. We had 5 major in all 3. And we had 20 major in physics only. And the questions were, how many have no major? B, how many major in math only? How many major in math and physics only. How many major in English only? Okay, so that was another one. So assuming there are only these three majors, so 100 students, only three majors. Where 30 major in math, English, 40 major in English, 50 major in physics, 10 major in math and physics, 20 major in math and English, 5 major in all three, 20 major in physics only. So what you can do is, again, you can set up a Venn diagram. Okay, so we can have math, physics, English. And remember, you go in and you fill out the places with the most overlap first, as well as places where you're told like, we have this many in that place only, right? So there's no doubt that that's how many people are in that section. So you fill out those first. So notice here, we're told about 5 in all three. That's the most overlap. We can fill that in. We're also told specifically that there are 20 in physics only. So we can fill that in. Then you're going to want to fill in the areas where there are 2 at a time, right? So you start with the areas that are 3 at a time, then 2 at a time, then 1 at a time, then none of them. They're not in the circle, right? So now if we start with 30 majoring in math, well, that's not going to help. So we want 2 at a time. So we have 10 in math and physics, right? So math and physics is right here. So that's math and physics. And we know that there should be 10, which means that over here, there must be 5. We also know about math and English. Let's make that red. There should be 20 in math and English. Math and English is over here. There should be 20, which means that we have 15 over here. So the 15 plus 5 would make us 20. We have, now with that, notice that everyone in the math circle is filled in except math only. So we can actually fill that in. I know there were 30 in math only, 30 in math. So this is going to be over here, 30 minus 5 minus 5 minus 15, right? So you would have 5 people over here. We're told that there were 50 in physics. So that would mean there are 20 people over here. So that's going to be your 50 minus 20 minus 5 minus 5. Then we are told that 40 were in English. So that would mean there's 0 over here because we already have 40 in the English circle. So this is going to be 40 minus 15 minus 5 minus 20. Stop. When you add up all the numbers in the circle, you'll get 70. So there are 30 people out here. And so that would be your fully filled out Venn diagram. And once you have those filled out, you can actually answer all the questions pretty easily, right? Filling out the Venn diagram is the hardest part. How many have no major? Well, 30. How many major in math only? 5. How many major in math and physics only? Math and physics only, that is right here. So you also have 5. How many major in English only? Well, 0, right? So once you actually fill out the Venn diagram, answering the questions based on that Venn diagram is going to be fine. So, I mean, hopefully that jogged your memory. A mock final? I don't think so. I think just by combining test 1 and test 2 and throwing in some. Oh, the one on the website, I believe, was for the old 1108 version. So it actually includes a lot of stuff that you wouldn't be doing. So I think that was in the section where it's the old. That was before they changed the syllabus. So I think the mock final that's there is not, it's not completely irrelevant, but it's not completely relevant either. It's, let me show you, see. Yeah, so there's like a section where it's like, there's some red warnings like, hey, it's not exactly our class, but here's some stuff where you can get some extra practice. Yeah, so not everything would be relevant there. So for example, but there are a lot of things that are relevant. So maybe I should do that. Maybe I can talk about that. So for mock finals, on class webpage, you can use them as extra practice if you want. And I would say for this, if we look at mock version 1, I would say to do these problems. Problem 1 is relevant. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is an example of a counting problem. 7, 8, 9. Problem 10, 11, not relevant. Problem 12 is relevant. Problem 13 is relevant. 14 is relevant. 15 and 16 is relevant. 17 is not. 18 is not. Yeah, so you can do those from version 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And what you can do is you can add 4 more problems from missing sections. Ugh. Or what you can do is you can just know that since there are 4 less problems, you can try to do the final in a little bit less time, like or do in 1 hour, 40 minutes. For mock version 2, did I already say mock? I did say mock finals. For mock version 2, I would focus on one, two, three, 4, 5, 6. 6 is a Venn diagram problem, so you can practice there. 7, 8. You would skip 9 and 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15. Yeah, so that's what I would do with version 2. Mock version 3. Right, so you got some counting problems and Venn diagram problems from those 2 sets, which you probably haven't done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nine, 11, 12. Mock version 4. And I think this covers most of what we did. The only thing that would be missing from this, from the mock finals, would be the stats part. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10. Not 16. Okay, so the mock finals are missing stats. So you can use those mocks to your advantage, but just know that they don't test you on statistics, which I will test you on the basics that we've covered in class. So you should know how to find the mean, mode, and median. If I give you a set of numbers, you should know how to draw a histogram or any of the other charts I mentioned. Yeah, that's it. And then as a bonus for stats, you would need to compute things like standard deviation, range, quartiles, box plots, um, as well as mean, mode, median, standard deviation for grouped data, which is bin data. But that would be bonus. So it's missing the stats, which is the drawing charts covered in class, as well as finding mean, mode, median for a set of numbers. Which I think those are pretty straightforward if you just know what they are and know the formulas. So yeah, as for me writing a new mock final for you guys specifically, I'm not going to do that. I think you have enough material to go over, and yeah, I mean you'll be hard pressed to finish even this. I think I would, as a first course of action, I would definitely go over my notes, and more than just the formulas or examples, just make sure you know like the principles and strategies. So things like when to use the amortization formula is something you should look up and write down. Things like how to know if two events are independent, or how to know two events are mutually exclusive. Things like that you should write down. And then once you have all that stuff out of the way, then I would go into practicing examples. In which case, yeah, you'll be able to do all these in an hour and 40 minutes a pop. Maybe throw in some random stats questions from your textbook, from the first two sections, I guess. Let me actually make sure. Yeah, so you can throw in problems from the first two sections of the stats part. So, I mean, I wouldn't ask you anything harder than what your textbook asks you for these. For extra stats practice, you can see the textbook. So it would be section 10.1, section 10.2, section 10.3, no, 10.3, 10.4, section 10.3 is what would be in the bonus. So in terms of that, yeah, I would just practice. What edition of the text did I give you guys? 14th edition. I only have a printed copy of the 13th edition. So I'm not even sure if all these problems would be the same. Yeah, so you can practice, do problems that don't involve computers. I think all of those can be fine. And let's see here. Yeah, so I think the problems in your textbook are pretty standard. So I would say here, practice problems that do not require a graphing calculator. Except there's one section in which I think I would want you to do the part with that it says you should use a graphing calculator, but I'd want you to do it without one. Let's see. Except when asked to construct a histogram with a graphing calculator. Do it by hand instead. So because in order to do it by hand, you'd have to construct that frequency table, which I would expect you to know how to do. So you should know how to do that. So yeah, so you want to simulate a final, you can do the mock finals and then just throw in one problem from each of these sections. And that will do nicely. Yeah, any other questions?
The format, I joined late, so if you went over that, that's
Oh,
sorry.
I did, and it's recorded. So it's essentially going to be like a test 1 and test 2 mashed together, except I'm going to throw in a Venn diagram problem and a counting problem. So it's going to be about 18 problems, 2 hours plus upload time.
Okay.
And I will also throw in bonus problems, which I also spoke about. So you'll have bonus problems to do as well. Any other questions? So after something else I already mentioned, but after the final is done, I would expect, this is the hope, I would expect to have everything graded within a week. And after that point, I will give you guys, I will send out some Jupyter alerts with your grade so you can see the grades and you can talk to me and discuss your final afterwards if you want. You can just ask to meet with me in an office hour, which I'll give you like 24 to 48 hour window from when I submit that, from when I send the grades out. Yeah. So that's kind of how it's going to go. And once that window closes, then I'll post the grades officially. Other questions, concerns? Does anyone have a final before this one? Well, I feel like the people who have the final on Friday, which is they're likely to have a couple finals before this class. But I mean, Friday you should be able to wiggle some practice time out of that. Is there anyone who with a final before Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a final tomorrow?
Today, if that counts, and then I have one Wednesday, I believe. Yeah.
So you have 2 on Wednesday?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
one actually.
Oh, just this one. Okay. So, all right. I assume you already finished studying for the final that you have today. So yeah, you just have this one to study for Wednesday, I guess. Yeah, but that is pretty much it. I think you guys can do very well still. I think it's still anyone's game. So if you messed up before, you messed up on test 1 and or test 2, now's your chance to show that you've learned from your mistakes. At this point, I would just look forward and not backwards. Don't try to drive looking in the rearview mirror. So don't worry about, oh my God, I'm so worried I did so bad and blah, blah, blah. Forget it. It's in the past. You can't change it. What you can do now is write a really good final. That's all you can do now. That's the best you can do. So focus on doing that. Learn, only look back to learn from your mistakes. Like, what did I do last time that probably wasn't a good idea that I should change for this time? But other than that, just really focus on doing well on the final. You know what it's going to be like. You have a lot of practice problems already to go through, especially if you forgot. I think at this point, a lot of you would have forgotten what the specific problems on test 1 were. So you can probably even go over test 1 on Gradescope and just see, did you get the answers that you should have gotten, right? Because you now have the solutions to that. So you can go over the test 1 on Gradescope and then check again. Did I learn how to do this by now? Did I pick the right formula this time if you didn't before? So that would be a good exercise. Other than that, I think we covered. I mean, we covered everything I want to cover, so it's just a matter of if you guys have more questions.
You probably already answered this question, but when will test 2 be ready, like graded, or it won't be graded until the final is done too?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be graded before your final, especially for Wednesday. Like, I don't think that's going to be done, but the solutions are up.
Oh, okay.
So you can know what is the correct way to do the problems either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. The solutions to the test are posted on the class webpage, and I the full solutions where I wrote out everything, like how you would write it out. Right. So I didn't just post the answers, like I wrote out how it would be done.
Will it be during class? I'm so sorry for all these questions.
Will what be doing what?
When we're taking the final, will we like have to join class and then take the final, or
No,
is just
you take it like
take
just
the
how you
final?
take the tests.
Got it.
You log into Gradescope, the final would be there, and you do it. It's going to feel like test 1 and test 2 kind of just squeezed together. That's what it's going to feel like. Other questions, concerns? Okay, yeah. So went over some Venn diagram problems. We spoke about some practice problems from the mock test, as well as how to get more practice problems from your textbook or problems in class. Yeah, final is going to be about 18 problems, and with some bonus problems, 2, 3, or 4, depending on my mood. And yeah, you'll have 2 hours to do it, and an additional upload time, 15 to 20 minutes, which I would recommend that you log into Gradescope with your phone. Just take a picture from your phone and upload it right away from your phone. I've heard people doing all sorts of things to upload things, and that's why they run out of time. Well, I had to transfer it to this computer so I could scan it from this and then do that and then re-download it and re-upload it. Like, why are you doing that? Log on with your phone, take a picture, it uploads right away. You can upload on your phone while you're working on the other problem. You're not going to run out of time. Yeah. Make sure that you are somewhere with a working internet connection. So if you've had trouble with that before, just try to find a way maybe to go on campus when you're taking your finals, or somewhere where you know it's pretty reliable. I know a few people had trouble with that, 2 or 3. So yeah, I mean, you know in advance when your finals are, so you should try to schedule possibly being in a more advantageous location by that time. So yeah, I think you guys can still do well, not only on the final, but overall. So I think that's what you should do. Just look forward, try to knock it out the park. More than doable. Yeah.
Professor,
Yes,
on the
John.
page on the class website, there's test 2A and 2B that are blank. Would it be possible to post the solution so we could check our answers?
No, those are for the old
Oh.
course, so they're not completely relevant. So when you're looking for this, when you scroll down, there's going to be a section that says test blanks and solutions. Those are the solutions for this class. But if you keep scrolling, you'll scroll through a section where there's a bunch of red text, and that red text is pretty much telling you everything after this was for the old syllabus. There might be some overlap, but there might not be. So you should be careful. And yeah, so I think that's the section you're looking in. And you can, in that section, you can practice some similar problems to what we're doing. In fact, I told you guys some problems from the mock finals in that section that you could do. But in general, it's not, those aren't really things for your class. And yeah. Yeah, going over those probability handouts could also be very useful, especially set 3. I don't think we did many examples from set 3. So you go through probability set 3 to get a lot of practice that way. Yeah, there's no shortage of problems to practice. And in fact, I don't think you guys will have the time to practice all the problems that there are to practice. But like I said, I think the first thing that you should do in terms of studying is actually going through the concepts and the definitions. That's going to be important, because it happened in like test 1, where even when I was giving you guys the formula, you're still getting the problem wrong, because it's you guys didn't know when to use the formula. So I would make sure you know that. Yeah. Other than that, let's see. Today is pretty packed for me, but I would say tomorrow afternoon, like from 4-ish onwards, I'll be a little bit more free. And so if you guys want to check in for an office hour, you did some practice, you have any last minute questions, you can let me know at that point. Yeah. So other than that, I think we'll stop here. So go forth, good luck, study some more. I guess if you have any questions that came up that you just didn't think to ask just now, you can ask me later, I guess. But yeah, I have another review session for my calculus class in a little while, so I think I'll wrap up if there are no other questions. So this is recorded, so I'll post this as well in the class playlist. Okay, well, that's it. Good luck. Finals week is always stressful. Don't let it get to you. Just take things in stride. Try to get as much sleep as possible. Plan things out, stick to the plan. Okay, I'm going to study for this many hours today. I need to accomplish this. Make sure you do that. And I think you will be fine. Don't focus on doing the examples before you actually focus on the concepts. Why would you use this formula in this case? Right. So for statistics, I'm not going to ask you many interpretation questions, but of course, for the other things, I might, just like on the test. It's going to be like test 1 and test 2, pretty much. Yeah. That being said, this is the final official edition of Math 1108. So hopefully you guys learned some good stuff this semester, but we will wrap up there for now. One more big push and we're done. So yeah, take heart. Good luck to everyone in this class as well as your other classes. And yeah, I guess I will see you guys around. Ciao.